Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Hello, Mr. Chauhan. Welcome to my show, Valor and Wisdom. I'm your host. My name is Puneet Singh Mehra. And again today, we have our special guest, Mr. Jay Chauhan, who is the author, a lawyer, and a retired judge. Hi, Mr. Chauhan. How are you?
Fine. But pleasure to be on your program.
Thanks so much, Mr. Chauhan. So today again, I'm here with the untold history which was buried for a long period of time. Today I'm going to tell you about the knowledge and wisdom about an ancient universities. Yes. So India has a long and a vulnerable history in the field of higher education. In the ancient time, India known for his wisdom and his knowledge. And one of the most oldest and one of the most first university in the world, Taxila University. Taxila and Nalanda. First, we're going to talk about the Taxila University. The world first university in the world is Taxila University. It was an important source of Hindu, Vedic, and Buddhist center. In order to get eligible for Taxila University, a student need to first completed their primary education, and after the age of 16, he needs to give an entrance exam of Taxila University, which was very hard. Out of 10, only 3 students got selected for Taxila University. And Taxila University is not only for Indians. Taxila University is an international university. More than 10,500 students studied over there from different countries. Example like Babylon, Arab, China, Greece, and there are many different countries. Taxila University has various programs than the rest of the world. Taxila has maths, science, Ayurvedic, surgery, astronomy, occult practices, dance, Sanskrit, music, warfare, astrology, political science, medicine, and arts, literature, language learning center, and there are many more subjects. It has more than 60 subjects which a student can study over there. In order to get eligible for Taxila, first the student needs to pay for their expenses. However, if the student doesn't have an expenses, he can work for a teacher for a certain period of time so he can repay his tuition fee. At that time, Taxila has the biggest library in the world, which name is Dharma. It means mountain of knowledge. It has varieties of books where a student and a teacher can study it over there from a different part of the world. It has 300 classrooms where a student can study it over there. It also had astronomical observatory where its name is Dharma, where a student can read and study the astronomical studies. That's a knowledge which was so vast in the entire world that every student from different countries studied over there. In Sanskrit, in the ancient time, in Sanskrit, there is a script. But first I'm going to tell that script in Sanskrit, then later I will translate it. In the ancient times, when we say in Sanskrit, it's like Sarvagrihe pujate murkhe, Sarvagram pujate prabhu, Sevadese pujate raja, Vidhana savrate pujate. It means a fool is worshipped at his home, a chief is worshipped at his town, a king is worshipped in his kingdom, and a knowledgeable person is worshipped everywhere. That's the wisdom of university. But later, the greatest university and the most oldest and the first university in the world was destroyed by the Huns when they invaded India. It was completely destroyed by the invaders. That's the first university. Then the second university I would like to talk to you about is Nalanda University. Yes. So Nalanda University was built by Maharaja Kumargupta in the Gupta dynasty. Nalanda also have varieties of subjects, and it has more than 10,000 international students studied over there from China, Tibet, Persia, Arabs, different parts of the world from different countries. It has 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers where people studied over there. Nalanda University has variety of subjects like social science, medicines, surgery, maths, political science, game, fishing, archery, and many more, But the knowledge of wisdom also burned down by an invader named Bhaktiyar Khilji. So let me tell you a small story why Bhaktiyar Khilji destroyed the Nalanda University. What happened? One time, Bhaktiyar Khilji had fallen sick, and the doctor in his court failed to cure him. Then someone advised him that in order to get himself by cured, he needs to meet Rahul Shribhadra. He was the principal of Nalanda University. Bhaktiyar Khilji was too proud of his Islamic culture and refused to himself treated by a person outside his religion. But his health worsened, and he was left with no other option but to invite Bhadra from Nalanda. When Bhadra met to Khilji put in condition that he needs to cure Khilji without any medicine. And the Rahul Bhadra was shocked, but he was cunning. He used his mind. And what he did, he put some medicine in the books of Quran, and he said to Khilji to read all the pages. But those words have a medicine. So whenever Khilji removed the pages, the medicine goes inside to his body. And everyone was shocked that Khilji was cured. The entire their empire. But that thing really disturbed Bhaktiyar Khilji. He was so disturbed that he cannot digest the truth that he was treated by an Indian scholar, a teacher which knew more than the doctor of his court. So what he did, Khilji decided to destroy the roots of knowledge, Nalanda University. He destroyed the Buddhism, he destroyed the Ayurveda from the entire university. He set a fire to a great library of Nalanda, which burned down nearly 9 million manuscripts. 9 million manuscripts, the biggest knowledge in the world. And the library, which also so massive, was so vast and so strong that it took 3 months completely to destroy it. Just imagine, Mr. Han, when Khilji destroyed the Nalanda University burned down for 3 months. That's how much knowledge we have. That's how much wisdom we have ancient time. But these invaders, they literally destroy every single thing from our country. The universities, the knowledge, the Ayurveda, the medicine, every single thing. Then later, Bhaktiyar Khilji also executed many Buddhists and many teachers who studied over there and who tried to teach to children. So that is the story of the first and the oldest universities in the world. So Mr. Chauhan, what do you think about that part of history?
First, Puneet, I'm impressed actually you speak Sanskrit.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'll let the audience hear that Sanskrit, like Latin, is one of the oldest languages, and most Indian languages today, and there are 22 official languages and about 100 other sub-languages in the Indian subcontinent.
Yeah.
And all their roots goes back to the Sanskrit language, actually. So I think that for the audience to understand, the Sanskrit is a live language. One state of India even speaks Sanskrit even today. And the fact that young person like you speaks it is remarkable to me. So I'm very impressed at the research that you're doing. And I just want to tell a little bit of my background, actually. See, I'm of Indian origin. J. Chauhan is my name. And all my education is more or less in the West, in the sense that I've gone to 4 universities. in London School of Economics in England, then University of Berlin. I am also educated in the law school in England, in Lincoln's Inn, and then an LLB and a Juris Doctor in Canada, and then practiced as a lawyer. Then I wrote the novel Love in the Empire to explain the history roughly from 1950s onwards to the next about 20-30 years. In major social changes were happening after the second, what they called the World War, but I call it the European War. It was Germany against the rest of the European countries. So in reflecting on the universities that I have been to, and then understanding, actually, it's important for us to know that we now think that Oxford and Cambridge are the top universities in the world. And in Germany, the Technical University of Berlin is a center of great learning. And then I would say that it is important for us to recognize that we have universities which are much older than the time frame in which Oxford and Cambridge came up. And the London School of Economics, where I attend, is much, much later. But just to give you a background of Oxford, a lot of students in England used to study in France, and then they fell out and they were asked to leave. They founded the Oxford University around the 12th century. Then they had a disagreement, and at that time the education was very religious in nature. So the disagreement on religion meant that many students went and they formed their own university, Cambridge. And these are very established universities of England. And I had the privilege of studying both law and economics in England. But I think when I look back at the Indian history, I think people of Indian origin should be proud that their universities are old. And it's a shame that in history, people like Khilji, who destroy the history in terms of invasions and destroy the knowledge base, like Rome did in terms of Alexandria, where Cleopatra was ruling. And Alexandria University was destroyed, and the Rome prevailed the Europeans prevailed over the Egyptian Empire. So I think in the Indian subcontinent, our knowledge base is ancient, but I think that there was a Muslim period in which some of these destructive universities happened, but India learned something from the Muslim period as well. They built the Taj Mahal at that time, and the architect came from Iran, by the way. And,
No, Sean, no.
Where did they come from?
Architecture is also Indians.
Really?
That's the thing, like the world doesn't know. The architecture, everyone knows are Indians. That's the truth. But how they narrate that every architecture comes from outside. No. Every architecture is a part of India.
So good to know, actually, because you have to keep in mind that my father, doing the freedom fighting in India, had to leave in 1939. And I was born in Africa. Because of his in the freedom fight, the British at that time, actually, they made India independent, actually. But in the British time, the Indian education was transformed essentially to English style of education, and the modern style universities are now basically established in India. And some of the universities like IIT are making huge name in America and many places around the world. India is now training in their universities many of the doctors who really run much of the British medical system. The computer engineers started a lot of new startups in California. And so we as Indian people are doing a lot of the contribution to the modern understanding. But to understand for Indian people is important to know that we look to the West and say there is the knowledge base, which there is. I ended up actually studying in the West. Many from India now come to the West to study. But we should never forget that the knowledge is huge, and then the Indian had the ability to have the knowledge base from the past. But unfortunately, the British, when they ruled, they did not place any emphasis on the education of India to develop the educational base of India. So all the education, they left the country almost illiterate, actually. And the elite of India were able to go to England, like Gandhi. They were the lawyers and barristers in the English system and came back to India and argued for the independence. But it is important for us to know that although India was invaded as a country and humiliated, and we went to the West, it should not be forgotten that we had the knowledge base, and the humiliation happened as a result of the occupation of outside people, and they made us think that we didn't have the ancient civilization. So the perception of Indian history should be corrected, and I think I'm delighted to participate with you to understand the way the educational process worked in India and in the world history.
Sure, Mr. Sean. And one more thing, Mr. Sean, about the architecture, I'll tell you why this Mughal Empire got the architecture in mind. How? Because when this Mughal Empire saw the ancient temples of Hinduism, they were so beautifully constructed by the Indians, which even the Mughal empires were shocked how they construct this type of temples. There are many temples like which was built in like 1st century, 2nd century, 5th century, 6th century. So that is the thing. But how they narrate the history, like even I'm shocked. Like the historians wrote a completely blunder history about India. And I'll tell you, Mr. Chauhan, whoever watching this video, Indian history is the only history in the world which was so badly misinterpreted, so badly. The words are changed, the people are changed, even the truth, everything is changed. And what our history taught us, if you go to any school, Mr. Chauhan, when I was in school, if I open my history page, our history starts from Mughal Empire. It starts from Mughal and it ends with British. And I was shocked. So I asked my teacher, I was like, okay, you're telling me Mughal was there. What happened before 15th century? She was like, there was some guy, this and that. She had no idea what happened before 15th century. And when I asked her, do you know who is Maharana Pratap? She was like, oh, he's just a guy. I was shocked. You don't know about Maharana Pratap, that even the entire Mughal Empire bowed down in front of him. I asked her, who is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj? She was like, oh, he's a Maratha. No, he's not just a Maratha. He was a great king, a great warrior. These people are so badly brainwashed, they cannot even see the simple truth. And I can tell you, that's not their fault. That's how they wrote the history. But that needs to be changed. India needs to reclaim his history back. That's all I just want to say.
Now, I'm really, really proud of you that you made that statement. So let me tell you, any professor or student of history sitting out there in India or around the world, they should recognize actually that our history has been distorted. And therefore, it is a part of why the Indian people feel humiliated, including me actually, that I was in England, a barrister, couldn't practice as a lawyer because they did not recognize that we have the ability to do things, think and study. Just to my background, I became a lawyer in Canada and then a judge in this country. And I'd like everybody to remember that even though I became Canadian citizen, but my ancestry is Indian. And I'm very proud of that ancestry, where there's a knowledge base, our ability to learn, an ability to accomplish things in life actually is there. So we need very much to remember that we do not need to distort our history, and we need to be proud of our history. So any professor, even a student of history, should learn our own history in India and then teach it to other people in the proper perspective. And I agree with you.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Puneet.
Sure. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Take care.
Yes. See you.